The rain hadn't stopped for 3 days. It pressed relentlessly against the tall glass windows of the penthouse, a steady rhythm that blurred the city into streaks of gold and gray. From this height, everything below looked distant, almost unreal, cars like slow-moving sparks, people reduced to shadows hurrying through wet streets. It should have felt powerful, standing above it all. But Ethan Cole felt nothing. He stood with one hand in his pocket, the other resting lightly against the cold glass. The chill seeped into his skin, grounding him in a way nothing else seemed to anymore. The penthouse behind him was immaculate, every surface polished, every detail curated. A place designed to impress. A place no one ever really lived in. "Sir," a voice came from behind him. Ethan didn't turn. "Yes, she's here." For a brief second, he considered canceling. Sending her away like the others. It would be easier. Cleaner. But something, maybe boredom, maybe curiosity, made him say, "Send her in." A soft click followed. Then silence. Then footsteps. He turned slowly. She stood just inside the door, as if measuring the space before stepping into it fully. No hesitation, just awareness. That was the first thing he noticed. Most people reacted to the penthouse, awed, intimidated, eager to impress. She didn't. She wore dark jeans and a simple gray sweater, slightly damp at the edges from the rain. No expensive accessories, no attempt to elevate herself for the setting. Her hair was tied back loosely, a few strands falling free around her face. Ordinary. And yet, not. "You can sit," Ethan said, gesturing toward the chair across from him. "I'd rather stand," she replied. Her voice was calm, steady, no edge of nervousness. That, more than anything, caught his attention. Ethan studied her for a moment, then gave a small nod. "Suit yourself." He walked past her toward the bar, more out of habit than desire. He poured a drink, watched the amber liquid settle in the glass, then set it down untouched. "What's your name?" he asked. A brief pause. "Lena." He glanced at her over his shoulder. "Just Lena. That's enough." There it was again, that slight pause before answering. Not uncertainty. Choice. Ethan turned fully now, leaning back against the counter. "You were recommended," he said. "As someone suitable." Lena's gaze didn't waver. "That depends on what you're looking for." "I'll be clear," he said. "I'm not interested in anything complicated." "Good," she replied evenly. "Neither am I." A faint smirk touched his lips. "No expectations. No emotional obligations. No past that follows you into the present." The words landed with precision, like he had rehearsed them. Lena tilted her head slightly. "That's very specific. It needs to be. And why is that?" Ethan pushed himself off the counter and took a few steps closer, stopping just far enough to keep distance, but close enough to observe her properly. "Because history creates problems," he said. "Attachments, consequences, loose ends. I don't want any of that." "And you think someone without a past solves that?" "Yes." The certainty in his voice was absolute. Lena studied him quietly, her expression unreadable. For a moment, the only sound in the room was the rain. Then she asked, "Is that what they told you about me?" Ethan didn't hesitate. "They said you don't have one." A subtle shift crossed her face, not shock, not offense. Something more controlled, measured. "And you believe that?" "I verified enough to know it's true." Lena let out a quiet breath, almost like a soft laugh, but without amusement. "There's no such thing," she said. Ethan's eyes narrowed slightly. "Excuse me. No one is without a past," she continued. "Some people just hide it better." "I'm not interested in hidden," he said. Sharply. "I'm interested in non-existent." For the first time, there was a flicker of something in her eyes. Not anger. Recognition. "You must be very afraid," she said. The words landed harder than he expected. Ethan's expression hardened instantly. "Of what?" "Of anything you can't control." A short, cold laugh escaped him. "You're making assumptions. And you're making demands," she replied calmly. Silence stretched between them, thick and charged. Ethan took another step closer. "This isn't a debate. It's an arrangement. Then you're negotiating the wrong terms. And what would the right ones be?" he challenged. Lena held his gaze, unwavering. "You shouldn't be asking for someone without a past," she said quietly. Ethan's jaw tightened. "Then what should I be asking for?" She stepped closer now, closing the space he had carefully maintained. Up close, he noticed a faint scar near her eyebrow, small, almost hidden. "Real. You should be asking whether you're strong enough to face one," she said. The air between them shifted. Ethan opened his mouth to respond, but nothing came out. For a man who always had the next move, the next word, the next advantage. This was unfamiliar. Lena stepped back, the moment breaking as quickly as it had formed. She turned toward the door. Wait, he said. She stopped, but didn't look at him. Do you have a past? He asked. The question sounded different now. Less like a demand, more like something else. She was quiet for a moment. Then, without turning, she answered. Everyone does. And she walked out, leaving the door to close softly behind her. Ethan stood there, staring at the empty space she had occupied. The rain continued its steady rhythm against the glass. But the silence inside the penthouse had changed. For the first time in a long time. It didn't feel empty. It felt unsettled. She didn't expect him to call. Men like Ethan Cole didn't circle back. They moved forward, replaced, refined, never revisited. That was how power worked. Efficient. Detached. So when her phone vibrated against the kitchen counter the next evening, Lena stared at it longer than necessary. Unknown number. She already knew who it was. For a moment, she considered letting it ring out. Instead, she picked it up. Hello, I need to see you again. No greeting. No hesitation. Just that same controlled voice, but something underneath it had shifted. It wasn't authority this time. It was urgency. Lena leaned back against the counter, her fingers brushing the chipped edge of the surface. Her apartment was small, quiet, real in a way his world wasn't. Why? She asked. A pause. Not long, but long enough. Because you didn't try to be what I wanted, he said. That's not a reason, she replied. It's the only honest one I have. That made her exhale softly. Honest. That word didn't belong easily to men like him. Where? She asked. Same place. I'll be there in an hour. The rain had finally stopped. The city felt different without it, like something had been washed away, leaving everything sharper, more exposed. The streets reflected light instead of drowning in it. Nothing to hide behind. When Lena stepped into the penthouse again, the silence greeted her first. But this time, it wasn't the same. Ethan wasn't standing by the window. He was sitting, waiting. That alone told her more than anything he could have said. You came, he said, standing as she entered. You called. She closed the door behind her, her movements unhurried, her expression calm, but her eyes were observant, taking in every detail. Something had changed. Not in the room. In him. I was wrong, Ethan said. The words came too quickly to be rehearsed. Lena raised an eyebrow slightly. About what? He took a step forward, then stopped, as if aware of the distance this time. About what I need, he said. And what do you need now? Ethan hesitated. That hesitation mattered. I thought I needed someone without a past, he admitted. Someone clean. Simple. No complications. And now, his gaze met hers, steady, but no longer guarded in the same way. Now I think I need someone who isn't afraid of theirs. The air shifted. Lena walked further into the room, her steps slow, deliberate. That's not the same thing. No, he said. It's not. Do you understand the difference? I'm starting to. She stopped a few feet away from him, studying his face as if searching for something, not words, but truth. So, she said, are you going to ask me about mine? Ethan shook his head. No, that caught her off guard. Why not? Because if it matters, he said, you'll tell me. There was no challenge in his voice this time. No demand. Just space. Lena's expression softened, just slightly. Not enough for most people to notice, but enough. And if I don't, then I decide whether I can accept that, he said. A faint, almost invisible smile touched her lips. You're learning. Don't sound so surprised. I'm not, she said. Just careful. Fair. Silence settled again, but this time, it wasn't heavy. It wasn't something pressing down on them. It was something they stood inside together. Ethan broke it first. Why did you come back? He asked. The question was quieter now. Not probing. Not strategic. Real. Lena held his gaze for a long moment before answering. Because you're not the only one trying to outrun something. Ethan felt that immediately. Is that what you're doing? He asked. Running. She shook her head slowly. No. Then what? She stepped closer. Not cautiously. Not defensively. Intentionally. I stopped running a long time ago, she said. Then why not just say it? He pressed. Whatever it is. Her eyes didn't waver. I'm not hiding, she said. I'm choosing. Choosing what? Who gets to hear it? The words landed with quiet weight. Ethan took a breath, slower this time. I want to hear it. You think you do. I know I do. Something in his voice, something unpolished, unguarded, hung between them. Lena searched his face, not for confidence, but for readiness. Try me, he added. A long pause followed. Then she shook her head. No. The answer wasn't harsh. It was certain. Ethan blinked, caught off guard. No, not yet. Why? Lena stepped even closer now, close enough that the distance between them felt deliberate, not accidental. Because the moment I tell you, she said quietly, you won't be able to go back to what you were before. Ethan didn't look away. And you think I'll walk away? I think, she said carefully, you'll finally understand why you were asking for someone without a past. That silenced him completely. No argument, no deflection, just the truth, sitting there between them. Lena stepped back, giving him space again, not as distance, but as a choice. When you're ready, she said, you won't ask for someone without a past. Ethan found his voice, softer now. And how will I know? She turned toward the door, her hand resting lightly on the handle. You won't feel the need to control what you don't understand, she said. She opened the door, then paused. And when that happens, Ethan took a step forward. What? She glanced back at him, her expression calm, but her eyes carried something deeper now. Something real. That's when I'll tell you mine. The door closed behind her. And this time, the silence she left behind didn't feel empty. It felt like something waiting. For the first time in years, Ethan Cole wasn't thinking about outcomes, or risks, or control. He was thinking about a story he hadn't heard yet. And realizing, he wanted to.